Good morning. Welcome to the world of conscious positive thinking with MJ, where your thoughts become your power and your mindset becomes your compass. MJ is here to guide you through a journey of self-awareness, emotional mastery, and empowered living.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Want to make
reach out and touch your musical sound. No matter you're young or old, God, let the good time roll. But until you say right. Can't wait any longer. My love cannot linger. Hear the river whisper keenly. See no matter if you're happy, see no matter if you're blue. My love it a shine on for you. My heart it a bubble up for you. My love it a shining for you. It a shining for you. Hey you, hey you. It a shining for you. Say when love coulda never grow old. Love work, Mount Diamond and Pearl. Till it is a work on the top of the world.
Hey! Well, happy to everybody. We have gone through 3 months without seeing each other. I'm here. Don't listen to what they say. I didn't go anywhere. I'm right here, right where I belong at this very moment. So, how the heck is everybody? It has been a wild adventure. It has come at a perfect time because the fire horse came in, and my goal, as you know, if we were listening to number 67, we were in North Carolina. My goal was to take you on my journey. I had this bucket list journey, and I was hoping and praying, not hoping, we already know that, but I was like, this is going to be phenomenal, and I'm going to take you all on the journey with me, and everywhere we go, you'll be able to feel how beautiful Mother Earth is, or how just resoundingly lucky that we are to be where we are today. And that didn't pan out so, buddy. What ended up happening is on that show, bada bing, it just completely like cut off. And I was like right in the middle of my show, and I was like, what the heck happened? So during one of the time offs, my beautiful friend Steve and my husband Ozzy, they saw that I was cold. I was in there. I'm like, it is so cold. I can't believe how cold it is. And so the next thing I know, we all go into the camper, and I'm on this thing, and I'm like, I need another blanket. I am so cold. And so they brought me not a blanket. They brought me 2 extra little heaters because we didn't really have a whole thing plugged up. So they're outside trying to hook everything up, where they hook it into the spa, and it completely blew up. Like the spa electricity went out, it just went, and then that was it. It was lights out. And then I couldn't get it back going, because everywhere that we chose to camp, and we did this months ahead of time, researching and, kind of doing our thing, every camp was covered in either trees or Spanish moss. And my Starlink that I paid so that we could be mobile and we could be remote and we could do this beautiful thing, it wouldn't work through all the trees. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe they have Wi-Fi here. So I'd run down, to the office, and they have this Wi-Fi, and my TV would do this. And I go, that is so not enough for a download or an upload for a podcast show. So it was, I find divinely, this is what I always talk about. And if you've ever listened to my show, man's egos and judgments, man is the one who says things, man's interpretation. And this was at an apex too. This was at an apex where I couldn't stand. There was no more for me to be able to stand listening to people, looking at social medias. And I started like pulling back, and I started pulling back, and I started pulling back even more. And I was to a point where I was so happy to be going on this journey. But the only thing I didn't break up in this journey is my responsibility and liability in order for me to learn something called face yourself, or Homsakusen, which means when you get angry or when you get upset, face what's within you. These have always been my words, and I will never, ever, ever be anything else besides an honest and truthful person, whether it be to me or to any of my friends, families, or any client. I cannot be anything else than what I am. And I don't like anger or resentments. So as this apex started building, and no matter how many times you tried to assist, and I did, I reached out to everybody, and I would ask them, where did you get this information? Why are we thinking like this? How come we can't think in a positive interpretation? Why is it that the feuding has to get worse? Why is there so many made up AI things because of people's egotisms? And it got worse. It got worse and worse. And I thought it was going to get easier, but it got worse. It was really, truly to a point where I could no longer logically understand the people I was around, whether it be my MBR family that I'm here with or outside associates. And I would stay away from those. I would only go to the ones that I felt peace in. Well, that's divisional. That's not what I stand for. I hope and pray, and I don't hope. Let's get back into our word usage. I pray you're not that divisional person either. I pray you're not posting negatives, because that's just your anger. I pray we're not talking negatives, because that's just your anger. And you're going, but MJ, they affect me. They affect me too, which is why I had to pull out. So I think nothing is a coincidence in life. So as this apex started to build more and more and more, and the year within internal family stuff, more and more and more, it was an apex for me to go to temple. It was an apex for me to just bow out gracefully and say, I need help. I need to separate myself. I need to remove myself from this energy that the sheep are flooding into. Yep, we're sheep. Somebody says an energy, and we all hoard to the energy. And there's some of us that when we hoard to the energy, then we start breaking off, going, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. And then all of a sudden you become your own family again. You're not the sheep. So when you get to those apexes, it's those apexes that I encourage each and every one of us to become conscious aware. I had to. I felt my dieback. I felt some of my beautiful gifts of God like being tarnished. I felt that people thought I was egoic because I'm trying to turn their point of view. I wasn't trying to turn your point of view. I was trying to ask you to further your perspectives, not take my point of view. Find a perspective of not just the path that the sheep went down, right? That's what we have to do. We have to find those, because when we find those beautiful things, then everything lays fine. Everything just becomes all one. But there's a big division right now. Even if you follow Schumann's resonance in the lines, and it went purple, then it went blue, then it went black, completely black. Now, I think that had something to do with our beautiful Artemis 2 and our integrity team up there. I think some of that had, especially if people are using Starlink, it really, truly did affect our satellites and our links that were up there. But then you're feeling so nostalgic, and you're feeling so patriotic, and you're feeling all these other beautiful things because here we are. Right? Here we are. We're back into that realm of just living in awe, living in peace. So I took my hiatus and I went to some, and it's so funny because we didn't work it out this way, but everywhere we went, we had 13 different stops. And except for the Miami, I came out of remission and it kind of delayed us. We were in Miami for 40 days before I was able to move. And that's okay. I still got to do my caravan. I still got to do some things, even if I didn't have my legs at the time. It's okay. If anybody who has had a handicap or an illness that is so current and just continuous in your life, you figure out ways just to push through it. Even though everybody wants to help you, you figure out ways to push through and go, no, I got it. And then with that same illness, you literally have to come back into center and tell yourself, you're not dead. You didn't die. So enjoy your life. Enjoy what you have. Right. And I constantly, when I come out of these residual or these remissions, I have to do that. I have to just remind myself, you didn't die. So just get going. Right. My dad used to, any football player out there of my father's or anybody who knows of his coaching. It's like, if you're not dead, get up off that field. Push yourself to the sideline. He was very strong, very strong. I'm not going to say dictating. I'm not going to say all those words. I'm going to say he's strong, right? What he wanted is to make sure you were strong. He wanted to make sure that you knew how to push forward. He wanted to make sure that small things in life, yes, it can be painful, like our heart, like our soul, like our mind space. But you need to power through these things. You need to find that conscious positive. You need to find the courage, and you need to find that ultimate faith that knows I either learned something, I was a catalyst for something, or I had to find that piece of my heart back. As a spiritualist, remember religion, spirituality, consciousness, right? This is the realm of vibration to the aoric flow patterns. If you believe in aoric flow energetic systems, I do. I believe that divine exists in such a big way. I believe our creator in such a big way made us. I do believe that we reincarnate. I believe that's why Christians became the first of our century, not millennials ago. Right? I do believe that. I do believe they were representing the world at large to say, you've lost your way. Right? What's the prayer? We all know it. Father, forgive them, for they have lost their way. Father, forgive me, for I did not know. I am very sorry, right? Ho'oponopono no. It's a Hawaiian prayer. Father, please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. And I thank you. Ho'oponopono no. And that's a beautiful mantra for people to come back into the grace of divine God energy. Ho'oponopono no. Right? Father, forgive me. So that's Tahitian. And then you have the Catholic, which is Father, forgive me, or the Christianity, Father, forgive me. Yeah. So it all comes back twofold around the world. So today, let's get back into what does today represent. So today is April the 13th. 2026. The resulting number is a 7. So angel number 7, here we are. And the angels ask that you take time to sit in silence or meditate. Its great wisdom can be bestowed upon you when you allow your mind to be at rest and when you connect back with your creator. You're being guided to embrace your predestined sacred contracts. So dig deep back into the heart space, back into our soul. Trust that God will assist you to advance accordingly and to evolve graciously. Your angel power word today is guardian angel. May your guardian angels always stand across from you, always take care of you. But really look for them if you are in a state of anger, a state of fear, a state of anxiousness. Call upon your guardian angels. It is the power word today. Maybe because it is the 13th, which is a 4. Miracle numbers of 4 always bring the angels in on 4s. So maybe today being just the day itself, not the whole month, day, and year, maybe it's plausible that we can just say thank you to our guardian angels. Gratitude is longitude. Longitude is gratitude. The longer that we say something, the more that it comes back full force, right? It's manifestation of repetition. I am thankful. I am grateful. I am thankful. I am grateful. I am thankful. I am grateful. I am even thankful for the air that we breathe. So remember, that's a really good power word today, guardian angel. But now we break it down. So the numbers contain 32, right? There's a 3 and a 2 between the 13 and the 26. So it says it is a very important to listen to that inner truth and to stay on course that you know is right for you. When you, meaning general, right? So general is you. You don't be swayed by others' opinions at this point in time. Trust your inner compass to guide you perfectly along the path that you are destined to take. Courageously, we move ahead with an open heart. Oh my gosh, I'm laughing all the way through this, and I should have read it prior to, but I didn't. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in divine miracles of God who put it here. I just got done talking about trust your inner self. Trust what you are saying. Don't just, be passive. No, don't be aggressive. Be the passive. Let it out there. Let your truth be out there. Tell them where they can find it. And if they don't, then that learning life lesson of despair and anger and frustration is on them. And here it's literally saying what I said. The path that you are destined to take, courageously move ahead with an open heart. Your angel number also contains the number 41. Your guardian angel stands beside you each and every day, and their unconditional love for you is unending and pure. They invite you to connect with them daily and talk with them just as you would talk to your best friend. Isn't that beautiful? That contains the number 41. Your angel number also contains the number 26. The angels know that you feel empowered when you feel compassion for others. They now ask that you feel that same compassion for yourself. Self-love, self-learning. There it is. It is very important that you say no to requests that make you feel uneasy. Do not. I am laughing from ear to ear because this all goes right back into my opening about balance, compassion, and alignment, right? You don't have to, if you're a black sheep, then get out of the circle. If they're going to talk about you, come out of there. This is not a lesson that needs to be learned on a daily practice every day. This is a lesson that you have to go through. You pull yourself out. MJ, where'd she go? I went to temple. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to pull out. As sad as it was, and knowing that there's some who desperately need help with their psychological minds, of their thinking patterns that have been brainwashed into some of these. It is sad. I had to undo the brainwashings in order to have my balance and my alignment and see the opinions and see the fights on each side. I had to come out. But the more that I stayed in with society and with all of technology stuff, I can understand an uneducated person being pissed off today. And here's the other thing. Everybody went to school for something different. You can Google your own percentages because I'm not going to put the datas up, and I'm just not that person. But you can do your own work if you don't trust what I'm saying, which I wouldn't these days. I would trust of love, balance, and alignment, but percentages, I'm going to tell you, there's these percentages that people post up. You're looking at them going, how could they be so diverse? Because are you asking a diverse crowd? Are you asking an opinionated crowd? Are you just randomly asking people that you don't even know? I don't know. Where are you taking these tests? Are they balanced? I don't know. Well, nobody knows. Anyway, going back to our angels, I'm laughing because it's everything I want to talk about today. You can't make that shit up. Anyway, they are now asking you to feel the same compassion for yourself. It is very important that you say no to requests that make you feel uneasy. Trust these situations and these sensations within your body and your mind, that these are your inner compass points, that they are leading you. Your soul is leading you down, and we need to become aware of those and become conscious of those. Angel number also contains the number 13. The ascended master is with you, and they are going to deliver the answers that you require. You are about to receive an indigenous download. Ingenuous, not indigenous, ingenuous. I'm back on the Indians. Receive an ingenuous download that will highlight a solution or steps necessary to shift a situation that has been stuck for a while. A positive breakthrough is on the horizon. That's beautiful. That's just beautiful. Okay. I need to grab a drink and I need to take a break. I'm well over my 15 minutes. Little practice makes perfect. So what we're going to do, I am going to be playing Quacker's emotional line, and then we'll be right back. Here we go.
Even ducks know the calmest waters come after the storm.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass. Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Dream big, start small, but most of all, start.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass. Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
You're stronger than you know and braver than you feel. One waddle at a time.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass. Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Okay, Mr. Beaker. Let me just get some of my notes up. So, took this journey. The trees were in the way, and I couldn't find anything in January. Everywhere I went, I was trying to get, and then I had somebody say, oh, you can go to the library or the church. And I told them, they said, well, you can't be, audibly loud. You can only listen. And so then I was like, you know what? I had to honor the break. I had to honor the movement that I was in. And that movement was solidarity. That movement was to go into temple. That movement was to go back into what I loved, which was my learnings. And most of it was either Hindu or Buddhism, which is the Buddhist, Buddhista knowledge of being okay. And trying to understand that wisdom of guru. My teacher in Buddhism was Tentani, and when I was able to get into Miami, then that was a world of difference to be able to speak and to formulate. So my job was then to journal or to write, and so I wanted to share with everybody. So on TikTok and on Facebook, I redid like a little video with what I wrote, how I felt, and the passion of earth and the passion of those who lived here before me, and to the compassion that I have today for these individuals. And it just so happened everywhere we went, there was a connection of God, Civil War, Indians, spiritual vortexes, and the most beautiful photos that you could imagine in those areas. Now, Ozzy is still processing 3 months worth of pictures plus a wedding, so he gets them out as he can. to have that journey with him was so delightful. It was so promising. It was exactly what the doctor ordered, because it just felt like I was handicapped most of 2025 and I was ready just to spread my wings and fly. If anybody comes in and out of wheelchairs and walkers and canes, you know the mental that you're in. If anybody lives in them on a daily basis, you understand that mental component. It takes twice the energy to do something. No matter how much you want to push through, no matter how much you want to, just understand that, you just need to push through. You need to just get this done. So if you were watching, you would have seen some things that I wrote. I'm going to pull one up so that maybe it was like one of those things going, wow, I never thought of that in that way. But when you are crippled, or you are injured, or you are ADA, or you are any of these things that now promote a diversion or a flow, then we have to look at this a different way. So I did, and I tried to explain without trying to get into too deep of health. Illness can feed like four walls closing in, like the world keeps moving and you don't. Depression isn't weakness. It's the way of living in a body that feels like a cage. For those tormented in silence, unseen, and misunderstood, your pain is very real. Your trauma is very real. Even when others don't understand that stillness, the isolation, the exhaustion, you're not broken. You're not. Your body is healing. Your mental capacity is healing if you would allow it to remain silent. Find the healing that speaks to you in small breaths, in tiny victories, in moments of light through a window. If you could just crack open a window and allow that sun or that air, that light, and close your eyes and think what that light is ultimately energizing your body to do. You find that healing that just speaks to you, like I said, in these small little breaths that you can take. You are more than the season that you are in. And even these motionless to sit there, you are still worthy of all divine faith and love. You need to remember to love yourself, no matter what ailment it is. You really need to learn the metaphysical causations to go with the physical causation. Because when you do this, then both of these will help you relax and understand you're not missing something. They purposely put you here. Why? Right? I'm the why girl. Just ask all my teachers and masters. Well, here's the why girl. Why? Why did you pull me out? Why did you not allow me to fulfill some of the things that I have? Is that a pattern that I have? Like I questioned, is it a pattern that I had to break? Is it because of the energy? I have a master who doesn't really believe. She believes in zodiacs to a certain point, but she also teaches to believe that every zodiac that you're under, whatever a negative attribute to that energy born in, Capricorn in my, for instance, anything that you find can be off balance, you yourself have a capability of fixing it. Just like you have the capability of fixing your morals and your old belief systems that you were brought up in. So if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you were like, I was taught, okay, but you were taught 30, 40, 50 years ago, when that in the Homo sapien era where people were talking about certain things. Look at our parents, right? if you are up there, look at your generations. Your great grandmother went through the Depression. Think about it. My great grandmother, she went through the Depression. My grandmother went in through World War, later, World War II. My mother, Korean War, Vietnam War. Like, these belief systems of how life was then and what was going on within the political arena and our Department of Defense. Remember, there's two. I can't stand that either. I can't stand cancel culture. Please heal yourselves with political differences. There are political science and there is the Department of Defense. Unfortunately, the president has to put two hats on. He has to give a vow and an oath like every veteran did. And every veteran, honor your commander in chief. I mean, that's number one rule. You took the oath, you signed it, you wore the uniform. The other thing I had to get over with the military is I don't know how many people I've had to hear, they kicked me out. I didn't know finances. Well, you didn't go in the military to learn finances. And then you're yelling at them because you made a choice. And, Tantani and I went through this, and I'm going to say it with conviction. My voice is now going to change with conviction because it is the truth. You make a choice. When you make a choice, you have to understand that it's going to have a realm of things going with it. You made a choice to leave because you were either in a poverty situation, an unfair, what you would call, it's not even unfair, I shouldn't even put it out there. You didn't have the financials to go into college. You didn't have parents who were pushing you into a learning state of mind. So if we have parents who didn't go to college and you're like, well, I made it without going to college, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're taking on something that you have to work twice as hard in order to make a life living. But then we want to cry that there's not enough money, that a minimum wage goes up. But if minimum wage goes up, everything goes up. There's a true imbalance. And I don't want to use this word illogically, but it's called illiteracy. We have a lot of people who don't understand our judicial branch, our executive branches, even with Biden. And then there's people who abused it, right? You have both sides. You have people who abuse, you have people, and then you have people who you have nothing to do with anything, but yet you think you have the right to know. Why? Why do you think that? Why have people become entitled? You can't live like that in other worlds. Look at Macron even came over and I was told, take it down. Here you go. Take it down. Why? Because if you take down like Europe's doing, you'll get fined. They will come to your door, knock on your door. They spend more money on listening to everything on social media that you're writing and typing. And if it is false and it does not follow their narrative, tell me some of these European countries are not socialists or communists. Come on. They knock on your door and say, take it down. So there's no more freedom of speech. Well, there is freedom of speech. But if it is, if you are accusing or you are saying something that is completely false, they're going to tell you, take it down. And they're going to tell you not nicely. So that's why they're trying to make people have more of a conscience. So I believe in that. I believe that you can't just, let's just forward this because you are so egotistically angry about whatever. You're going to forward whether it's true or not. You're not going to look it up. I can't tell you how many of my people on these libraries don't look them up, and I tell them all the time. No, I get backlash. Family, friends, co-workers, I get backlash. I think that's why my 3 months of solitude was the most divine time, and there was smiles from ear to ear, even though I came out of remission. Even though. It sucked. I can't say that, that was the highlight. But there was some highlights in it. We made good of it, but compassion. People generally lost their heart. It started to amaze me that the more people I see and the more energetics that I see, people are walking around with black on their heart. They're walking with black on the right side of their head. They're walking around with black, taking out their feet to move forward. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. What is happening? You know, I always tell people, watch what you say and how many times you say it. I hear, it's a military station, so we were asked, I was asked twice this weekend, twice, because I wasn't with my husband. I was with my mom and my sister and some other friends. And so I was asked about it, about the draft. As a military person, I said, I believe in that. I believe that these people have to sign up for draft. I understand it was an old pattern. I understand that's what happened before. But obviously, nobody wanted to do anything in the 47 years to take care of something because they didn't want to put blood in their hands. At some point, people come here as catalysts. And we have to understand this. We have to. Each and every one of us who we get in a conversation could plausibly be a catalyst for somebody else's anger, depression, whatever. Right? Their moods. Why? Because they're not ready to face the truth. If it makes them angry, they're not ready to face the truth. My truth of it is, people are not educated. That's my truth. And they're not educated in a way to be able to speak their opinion about anything on a political science or DOJ or DOD, sorry. They're not. Because these people who are angry and these people who want to fight ICE and fight DHS and fight TSA and fight the military, and there should be no fighting. There should. Okay. But you'd be the first person if your house got broken into to call the police. Or if you're in a car accident, it's somebody else's fault. You're the first person. It's his fault. This is where we're at. Pointing blame, pointing fingers. Not accessible to corruption of society. You know what was happening and you did nothing. And now trying to fix 47 years worth of issues. That's hard. That's like souls coming here and saying it's my last time on earth, knowing that as a spiritualist, and then stacking the whole world of events in one lifetime. And it just seems like that person, no matter what happens, some shit's always happening. That's me. Right here. That's me. That's me. That's me. That's me. There's always some shit. And then I have to laugh. And now I need to honor. Every time something, I have to smile. Somebody goes, oh, I know you're pissed. I'm like, I'm really not. No, I know you're pissed. You're covering it. No, I'm not. I'm convicted in my stance. I have a conviction. I know not to cross this line. But getting back to people in the military, they crossed the line. Why? Money. They ran away. They're not fixing the problem. And then they come back and the problem still exists. They didn't learn compassion. So what is compassion? So now you kind of know where I was at, why it took so long. Thank you for the time, the 38 minutes to discuss in and outs of my mental, my acuity, my own life, right? My own personal journeys. And I'm not a hypocrite. So if I say on the show, step out, you're in chaos, remain calm and step away, process it and come back. There's no time. There's no time. There's no time on it, especially if it's a death, especially if it is anything that has to do with your heart. You take your time, because the heart eventually is going to lead to a highest positive conscious vibration you could possibly have. So when we suppress it and we were like, it's too emotional. It's not too emotional. You didn't die. Stop that. Find courage. Ask somebody to help you blast frequencies of courage and honor, respect, conscious morally. Have some of this within, really, because you're really looking like a jerk that's unhealed, that sooner or later more people will become into consciousness and you're going to be left behind. You don't want that either. But that's going to happen. People in the military, they run away to the military, and then they want to get angry at the military for not providing them, or the people who end up in war and get hurt or have a disability. You can still live without being miserable. It was your choice. It was my choice. If I said this once this weekend, it was my choice. Said it last weekend with the death and the rebirth of Christ. It was my choice to be a warrior. My choice. My soul. Where it came from, I don't know. Neither one of my parents. But I told everybody, even when I got injured, not everybody gets injured. They don't. In fact, a lot of people make a career in their life and they retire. They retire comfortably on their pensions. However, the reason is, stop using Uncle Sam as your scapegoat in anger. Stop it. Figure out you. Step out. Process. What did you do? What's your part? What's your part in this? Have you figured that out? Probably not, because we don't have the compassion. This is where we have compassion. Compassion is like one of the most powerful freaking human and spiritual capacities that we carry. I didn't think I did enough of it, which that's my word of the year. I said it back in January before May Day went. Compassion is my word. We need compassion. We have to, let's just walk through it and figure out how we ground in compassion and our meaningful way through our heart. And then our mind and our soul will all align. But if it's not in our heart, we're not going to have compassion. Compassion is like the ability for all of us to feel that someone recognizes their suffering and their experience, and then it just responds like in this genuine, beautiful care, understanding, and desire in order to help or hold that space for others. It's such a rich question when you ask, what does compassion really mean? It's such, that question in itself, it touches, it's a compassion, it's a language that just touches our psychology, our physiology, and even in spirituality. And it's just packed. It is a packed word. And I think a lot of people really need to learn this word compassion. Because it is truly the ability to feel. It's that feel with someone. It's that recognizing that they are within their suffering or within their experience. And now we have the response with this as with genuine care, genuine understanding. And just in total, it's a desire to help and hold that space for somebody. It's powerful. The word compassion in itself, man, if we all had compassion, it's a deeper, richer kindness. And then that kindness then is the action. So you have to have, you have to have a verb, and then the verb of that action is to be it, right? So it's deeper in kindness, and then that kindness is to that action. And then there's compassion. And then the compassion is that embodied awareness. It's that feeling and that responsiveness of understanding where they are at that moment with your heart, your mind, your soul, everything inside. But they all have to connect, because if they don't, you don't have compassion. You have something else: ego, judgment, right? Anger, resentment, depression. But compassion will lead you out of that. That's the word I was missing. That's my word. Why we have to have compassion, right? It's that ability to recognize somebody else's suffering and to feel motivated to help relieve it and to help assist them relieve it. I'm just going to be a doctor, a nurse, a spiritualist, a counselor, a reverend, a light worker, a spiritual healer, a life coach. Any of these have to embody some level of compassion. They have to. I said have to. But they get to, because that's their choice. Like the military, that was our choice to go in. Did I know that I could die in the military? Yes. They say at 18, you don't think, yes, stop it. Because it was said, dude, even including death. Well, we didn't read it. That's your problem. That's your ignorance. I know these are big words, and they're hard words, and they're harsh words. And I know words matter. But this is a conviction, because enough's enough. Enough is enough. You chose this. Whether you had to learn the event, look at yourself. Stop. When you get angry and you're writing stuff, especially F-bombing all over the place. No, President Trump did. I don't like that either. Point a finger. Because he did it, I can do it. Come on. Here you go. Educate yourself. Get an education, because you sound like a kindergartner. Well, he pulled my ear till I kicked him. Go and bit him. I could bite marks. So we learn these animalistic traits in daycare, preschool. So we stop it. Now we're in our 40s and 50s and we're still. Come on. This is what can't happen, especially in companies. If you and your coworkers are that, like that, what a disaster. You better have a strong leader. You better have somebody who can find that compassion and find that line and find it well. Because you're hurting the people who are contributing or working the most for you. Find a balance. Find the agitator, right? Figure it out. Where can I help you? How can I help you? That's compassion. It is compassion. Recognizing somebody else's suffering and feel that motivated to help it, to relieve whatever it is. And it goes beyond empathy. Like people are, it's empathy. No, it goes beyond empathy. It goes so much further than empathy, because feeling what other feels also adds an action or a desire to act like that. So it goes way beyond empathy, compassion. So the empathy is great. If you feel the empathy, you're already feeling the pain firsthand. Now, because it's not your pain, how do we transfer that? And so as a light worker or a spiritualist or a reverend or a psychologist who has empathy but wants the compassion side to up it, now we have to listen without interruption or judging. That's hard. That one right there, so hard. Because the minute somebody says something that doesn't correlate with you, balance with you, or you just know it to be a lie, you're like, stop right there. That's Interpretational Healing Center. Stop right there. They're telling me that that's not true. God is telling me, look, it's even showing it. We're not touching it, and it's proving it to be. It's not true. So wherever you heard it, read it, or listened to it, please check your sources. Going back to, please check your sources. It's not true. So compassion means listening without interrupting or judging. I failed at this. I continue to fail because it drove me crazy that you're trying to balance something. Not that I'm right, they're wrong, but when you're reading on 11 different libraries that are people, they redact them. That's conspiracy. It's a lot of conspiracy. You can find now everything, including intel, on this damn computer. You just maybe don't have the IT for it. I don't have the IT for it. I let somebody else show me. Show me where it says that. Tell me where it says that. I don't have the IT for it. I have the IT for 11 libraries because you just punch in the library name, you know. So, but that's a big one with compassion. Really, it's probably one of the biggest, which is listening without interrupting or judging. And then we also have offering our help when somebody is struggling, right? So offering help when somebody is struggling is compassion in everyday moments that we see. The easiest form is a little old lady crossing the street. How are we going to help her carry her bags while she carries herself? Or maybe pick her up and take her across and then go back and pick up the bags and anything like that. Or an old man, doesn't matter. Or maybe an animal's trying to cross a busy highway. Do you get out and help the animal? Or do you just go, oh my God, please, 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 and please just stay there? Do you stop and help the animal? I remember python hunting, right? If there was a snake in the road, Ozzy or I would get out of the truck and we'd move it off the road because people run over them. Turtles, lizards, alligators. You know, we can't do deer and stuff because they just run. But these other animals that are so slow, there's hundreds of them dead all the time, especially in the Everglades. There's only one way in the Everglades National Park to get down to Flamingo, one road. And it says, please be cautious of all animals. But yet people fly on that road, 80 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour, straight shot down all the way down to, because 45 minutes, 45 miles. But they're flying and they're like, oh my God, I just hit a turtle. It's not, oh my God. You weren't even consciously aware to protect something. You didn't even have the compassion for it. There is a posted speed limit, 45. So you could be able to stop without hitting these animals. Compassion. Another one, being patient with others, making their mistakes. Oof, that's hard. This is what Tintani taught me. This is what the power of temple re-insinuates to me. Are you patient by other people's mistakes? They're not your mistakes, they're theirs. Are you angry? Are you upset because they made a mistake? Are you upset because in your eyes you see it as a mistake, but in their eyes it's not? Mistakes. Always happens. They're always there. We just have to figure them out, right? And then we have treating yourself kindly when you are struggling yourself. Self-compassion. Like self-love. There is self-compassion. If it's not part of our heart petals, we have 12 of these petals. And if it's not part, we got to make it a part. We have to do it. And we get to do it. We just have to, but we get to. Have to as our leaders or our business people who want to be presidents or CEOs, right? You got to find that compassion for everybody. Are you a populist? I don't mind populist because it's always the majority of people. You'll never make every single person happy. You never will. But you got to remove ugliness from the existence. Some way, somehow. Talking obviously didn't work in 47 years. Just saying. Money didn't work. Giving them things didn't work. Remember, friends and enemies, right? We learned this. Keep your enemies right in front of you. Because you just never know. And with compassion, we've asked, we've talked numerous times. But when you continuously fabricate, lie, distort, and kill people, and the killing has gone over 100,000 people and there is no justice, it's time, like Moses split the water for the light and the people who had high belief systems of kindness and compassion to get through the waters. And in the Bible, you can even read it. What happened then? The waters came back and drowned all those military soldiers and all the enemies. Right? We were done fighting. But they had to go. So is that blood on Moses' hands? Compassion. What a decision Moses had to make. What a decision. In order to have balance in our life. In order to bring back Funny. It shows up in the tone of your voice, choices, and even small gestures. Compassion. But we don't see it anymore. Why? Because we're so busy going down the rabbit hole on social and media and streamline media. I'm happy for Take It Down. Because you people speak. And I think when you speak, you should have, there's some type of understanding that what you are saying is harmful and it hurts. And sometimes it takes a while for people to understand, I didn't mean it like that. Well, when you're calling people, what is it, Trump tards or dummycrats or libtards, I think these are some of the names. Well, I have family members. Is that what you're calling my family member? Oh my God, no, MJ. Well, I don't understand. Why would you say such a thing? Where is that? That's not compassion. That's just plain ugliness. Really, it is. And just doesn't have a place. It doesn't have a place for me anyway. And so decisions always have to be made one way or another. Because it just doesn't. So how do we learn it? Right? That's the next question. So if that's not going to work, then how do we learn it, MJ? How is it that we can, learn compassion if you don't think that we have compassion? I think compassion isn't just being nice. It's essential in our lives. It strengthens relationships and trust. It reduces a huge amount of conflict and aggression. It improves all of our mental health, both yours and mine and others. And it builds communities where people feel safe and they also feel valued. Because without compassion, people tend to become very reactive, isolated, what's another word? Harsh, ugly towards others and themselves. They went down the rabbit hole, not only with others, they went down the rabbit holes with themselves. So we default to judgment. We separate instead of connect. And we react instead of understanding. Compassion dissolves division. It completely dissolves it. It allows us to see the humanity in others when we have compassion. And it even gives us, when we don't agree, that same humanity. It works both ways, right? If we don't agree, we can still have compassion. And then we don't have division. Words, tones, actions. Words, tones, actions. And if words, tones, actions, you better heal yourself. I have a great guy, Ted Tani. He'd go to temple. Maybe a lot of people should go to temple. Maybe a lot of people should back out. Really. Back out. Shut it down. I, for one, I didn't remove them as friends. But there is some where it's like, I don't want to see it anymore. They're not allowed to even write on my stuff. I don't want to see it. I don't care what they write. Because they're two different people. They talk one way, and then you can see what they write on everybody else's stuff. It's horrible. So you're only pretending to be this. You're not that. You're not true. That's not compassion. And that's not even true to you. You're not even honoring yourself. You don't even love yourself at that moment. To speak one way and write disgustingness on Facebook. And then you're supposed to be a leader or a president or a senator or a governor or a CEO. Like, how can you, why? You're only really hurting yourself. And you're upsetting the people who feel like, oh my God, I'm in this bread wrapper with it. I don't want to be in it. There's a domino effect because you don't have compassion. That's compassion. Compassion just dissolves that division. they're like, but MJ, I understand. I fell in it. I did. I was telling some of my family members and they just blew it all up and I was the worst person on earth. I understand you. I get it. I get it. Oh, she has 9 years of education. Okay. But that doesn't mean you can have 100 years of education. You could be an ongoing freaking person who does nothing but study. But if you don't have social behavior skill or you don't have emotional space in that big old brain of yours or common sense, you could have, what's my dad? All the education ain't shit without a brain. I mean, that's my dad. All that education isn't shit without a brain. He's right. If you don't have common sense to use it, or you don't have compassion, or you don't have love, self-love, it starts within ourselves. Heal that inner child trauma. Stop talking about it. There's more an awareness when things don't need to be concealed or pushed down or, suffocated down below in our guts. Who cares? I don't care how I grew up. This is how I am today. So stop talking about it. I see all these, this person was abused and blah, blah, blah as a child, and look at them today. Great. That's a success story. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Except for the angels who didn't make it. That people didn't see they were being abused. People say, maybe in the next lifetime. No, there's never going to be a next lifetime for me. Because I'm going to make sure that when I leave, I have that compassion. I don't know how I have to do it. If I have to change who I am again to have it, then I have to change who I am again to have it. And I got to figure out why it's blocking me. Compassion is so important. Maybe I wouldn't make the justification as saying, see, that's not compassion. I caught myself. This is what you need to do. Right? I can tell you things that they say, and then I mock what they say. That's not compassion, MJ. So I'm still learning. See? 2 months later, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning my compassion, right? And there's the smile to train the ego, right? Remember those? I know it's been a while, right? We smile, right? And it's not a sarcastic smile. It's, I am going to laugh and smile because you're wrong, ego. You can't say stuff like that. It's okay to talk to yourself. You can join the rest of us talking to ourselves. I need to take another little break here, so we're gonna play some more Quackers little things here, and then we'll be right back. You're listening to the World of Conscious Positive Thinking. It's a channel right here on MBR Radio, and thanks for welcoming back. Give me 1 second.
Hey, before you go, make sure you check it out. Our limited edition...
Not that one. How about we just keep paddling?
Small steps still get you to big places. Keep paddling.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass. Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
You've got this. Even if today feels tough, your best chapter is just around the pond.
Whenever things get rough or it feels like you're at the edge, remember this: storms pass. Tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Hey, before you go, make sure you check it out. Our limited edition dye-tired shirts are in the MBR shop for $25. Don't miss out.
There we go. So, hey, the dye-tired, let's talk about that. Up here in this top box up here, I don't know which one you're at, but maybe it's this one. Yeah, maybe. So it's like a little QR box. It has a little cute duck in it. And here, I'm going to blink it. So if you want to look at it, because it's a widget, so let me take it off. Oh, now I'm going to put it back on. There it goes. So we're rounding down. This is Dietard and Terry had taken this on for promotions and for donations. So I believe that it's coming to a close. So you might want to check that out. before they actually close. There's Terry on the thing. I see you. Hello. Good morning, Miss Terry. So that's her box with Die Tired. They are Die Tired shirts and MBR shirts. And that is to help the collective. And that is just another event here on MBR. So check it out. Put your little phone. People go, oh, you can't do I learned a new trick. You can. So if you just hold your finger down on the actual thing, it'll sooner or later pop up, like a couple of seconds, and it'll pop up a link. So it does work. You don't have to have another phone to this or print it. Like, yes, they're my world. They're my IT people. Oh, there she is. Terry. Thank you, Terry. Here, let me just post that up. Yes, she's closing them out on April the 30th. So please, that upper one, get them, because we're not going to bring them back for the time. And if we do, it's going to be a different design. So get your design and then you'll have them. And that will be really fun. So, okay, we have to get back to compassion. So compassion, it is truly essential for healing personally and collectively. We have to understand that. Compassion is practiced. It's not memorized. As you just saw, I had to practice because I mimicked somebody. That's not compassion. That is a very hard trait, because my dad, we used to sit at the dinner table where my mom and I were talking about this with compassion. And there was some things that were funny, but there were some things that were so sarcastic. It was kind of sad. And when you think about it, from being a child at the table with the mimicry, whatever that word is, and then into what today, to do that, it truly is a visual of sarcasm, not funny. Some comedians mimic, and some comedians can be very funny, but some people can really go way too far on one side or the other. Not political, just you just went a little too far, and that's the kind of thing where compassion really needs to feed, because so many people's are getting hurt. Is it because we're getting soft? Or is it because people never learned to teach them compassion? Right? Woo! Compassion, it's going to sink. I promise. By the end, everything's going to we have to sink this, because it is truly one of these most beautiful words and learnings that can happen in order to stop division. And I promise that you won't become so reactive, so isolated, or harsh towards others when we do learn this. Even our words will change, because we'll be encouraged by going, well, that's a hard word, right? How can we say this another way? Where's our thesaurus? Get our thesaurus out and start looking for another word to try to balance with those who are already politically conscious. That's not political science. I don't know how many times I said about the Native Indians, they're like, they're not Indians. Oh my gosh. So I started following, because when you're sitting there in a trailer and everybody else is doing something, there's nothing for you to do. You start thinking. So I started following this thing, Madison. Oh my gosh, compassion. It literally shows you how far left these kids in this state were taught. And then it brings you back into a state of peace, a state of not speaking like that, a state of acknowledging, going, can't you just, it is such a learning of compassion. I love that show. So look at it. It's called Madison. It's on Paramount. There's only 6 right now. I don't know how far they're going. It's with Kurt Russell and Christy Brinkley. No, can't remember her name. Maybe. Anyway, I don't really know actors' names, but it's called Madison. And wow, eye-opener, like major eye-opener. I don't go to New York. I don't live in New York. I don't like going into New York. There is just, they're not conscious of personal space, in my opinion. And so there's so much crime. I just don't go. However, all that is true. You can see this life of these kids being brought up in such an environment. And so when we talk about compassion, we also have to talk about inner healing, because we are sourced by our family, number one, as we grow. The first 5 years of our life already is going to tell us what we're going to do, because we've already learned the socialisms, the behavioralisms. We've already learned what the child can or cannot do, which means we take this as a child and we get it into a higher realm, so that when we become parents, this child can't speak. This child you're to be sitting there. Okay, there's a lot of demands that the child has to learn up until 5 years old. And one of those, most of us as parents, including myself, miss, is the compassion. That is that side. How do we learn it? Our awareness, not suffering within, ourselves or others, our perspective talkings, ask, what might they be going through? I've never gone through that. Learn it instead of arguing with it. Try to be compassionate of what they're going through. Do you ever see the signs? If there's one thing that we can all be and doesn't cost us anything, it means be kind. Do you ever see those signs? You don't know what somebody else is going through. It's compassion, right? Practice kindness. Small, consistent actions. Just minimize them. And we do small, consistent actions matter more than these big gestures that we can do. Oh, I screwed. I'm just going to buy them something. That's not compassion. That's trying to buy love. That's trying to buy the affection. That's trying to buy the friendship. That's trying to buy that. That's not true. Right? So small, consistent actions, right? They always do. Self-compassion, treat yourself with that same care, that same love, that same admiration that you'd give a friend. Treat yourself like that. It all starts with us, right? You're not going to do Reiki on somebody when you haven't healed the majority of your chakra centers. Why would you do that? Why would I allow somebody to put their hands on me like that, knowing that they're crossing that energy into me? I wouldn't want that. I would never want that. I don't need extra lower vibration. I'm spiking to be a higher vibration, right? So I wouldn't want that. So these are these things. These are the ways that we have to understand. These are the ways that we have to learn compassion. The last one is mindfulness or reflection, which means it helps you pause that instant of reacting. Does that make sense? Okay. So your self-awareness, noticing your own reactions, empathy building is asking, what might they be feeling? Empathy building, life experiencing, your own path then now becomes a doorway to understanding others. And then now we still have the stillness and reflections, right? So our stillness and reflections is slowing down enough to feel instead of react. We want to feel it, but we don't necessarily want to react to it. So these are all how we learn into developing into a compassion. You learn compassion basically by first offering it to yourself. We talked about this. Do you love yourself enough to have that compassion? Or when you screw up, you go, MJ, F this, F that, and because you screwed up. Or do you look at it going, oh, surprise, surprise, that didn't work out. Where is my interpretation center? You see how even sounds better? It's even nicer sounding. It's more appealing. It's one of those things you go, why am I so hard on myself? Right? If I've never got into this event or this experience, I can't sit there and be angry at myself. I can only, if it's words, I apologize for my words, actions, right? Choose your words, choose your action, and choose the volume in which you speak, your tones. Right? I get it. Over time, compassion is going to be natural. It's like building a muscle, right? Where is Oscar Mike Radio? Where is he? Where he, he's building his muscles and building his muscles and building and having these things. Now he's at 315 pounds on, I don't know, something. I'm not a muscle builder, you can tell. But yet, here's the endurance, the same endurance. Like, I'm not a muscle builder, but I understand it. So to say, over time, it's going to be more natural. It's just like building a muscle. To walk, me walking, I lose a lot of muscle strength. I lose a lot of that strength sitting in a chair, sitting in a wheelchair. I lose a lot of it. So having to regain and build a muscle, not like a muscle builder, but just that way, right? I have to, it's going to take time. I get that. So now to learn it, I have to catch myself. It's like catching myself saying, but don't just that word has to go, because it cancels the beautiful things that I said in a however situation or a yet, right? You don't have to do it. You get to do it. You get to learn compassion in order to not to have division around you. Speak your truth and say, we all have our ways. We all have our own journeys to do. As long as we have compassion and as long as we have understanding of their journey to our journey, why they are having to learn this in their life. And if you've already learned it, these people have to learn it themselves. You can't fix everybody, light workers out there, light healers, no matter how compassionate you want to get down deep and dirty. They can choose to say no, and they do. It's been happening. But if a voice out there says, can we just learn compassion? Let's understand compassion. How does excelling in compassion, help everyday life? And not only everyday life, but help our soul. So in everyday life, when we start to excel, relationships deepen and they stabilize. Conflicts soften and resolves faster because you're not willing to argue. You're not willing. You can let them fire, and when you don't respond, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm your wall right now. Go ahead. And that's how I react. I don't have to have a judgment on their statement. I don't have to come to a conclusion on their statement. I don't even have to appreciate their statement. But I can have the compassion to be the wall for their statements. I don't take it personally. Their aggravation has nothing to do with me. So there's the smile. There's the ego, right? There's that smile. Okay, but that makes you feel angry. So why are you following it? That makes you feel angry. So what would you like to do about it? Find those compasses. This is what we're talking about. So this is why conflict softens and resolves faster, because I'm unwilling to participate. Right? Now, if it's something I have to heal, I'm going to be vocal. I'm going to speak my truth. And if they have another interpretation of my truth, I'm willing to hear it because that's compassion. That's willingness to balance. I had a moment this weekend, and it was by one of my oldest, dearest friends alive this weekend. We were in a casual conversation. And so when I was talking about ceremonial circles, the question, or she made it it wasn't even a question. She goes, well, did you ask to install that? That's another story. But the awareness I had, I looked at her, and at first it was like, what the hell are you talking about? That was my ego, who was like, block it. I'm here to save you. Don't be suffering. And I'm like, oh my God, go away, ego. I'm like, wait. And I had to pause. And then God made me pause. The awareness of the compassion, the awareness of the resolution, the awareness. I was like, oh my goodness. It was always an assumption, right? Like some of the things of the award, it's only an assumption. Because I lived, there were so many deaths. That's an assumption. Is there a way to do it without the death? Or so many. Not into the hundreds of thousands. Maybe just in the teens. Maybe. Possible. Yeah. So In everyday life, that stress decreases because you resist less and understand more. And this is in everyday life. The awareness, just like that, of the compassion, you can now go, oh my gosh. And now you can communicate with clarity and calmness, right? Now, for our soul, it's a little different. So you can handle stress better. You can communicate more effectively on the practical levels, and you can build deeper, more meaningful relationships. Now let's target the soul. You align with unity instead of separation. Yeah. You release heaviness like resentment and anger. You experience a deeper sense of peace and of purpose. And then you become a steady presence that others feel safe around you. And then all of a sudden you're like a magnet, and people start magnetizing to you. So compassion refines your energy, and it raises how you move through the world with others. It just creates a whole sense of connection rather than separation. And it reduces all the inner conflicts. Less guilt, less anger, less resentments within our soul level, depending on your beliefs of others and your conscious awareness. And then the last one is, many traditions just see compassion as a pathway to inner peace or purpose. And it's true. Because with the awareness of compassion, you have the understanding. And when you have the awareness and compassion and understanding, your inner peace becomes, that purpose, your calm, your calamity. So when we want to practice within ourselves and we want a unity within, scientifically, compassion doesn't have a literal measurable frequency like a sound wave for a frequency journey or that. But metaphorically, in the spiritual language, some people say that compassion has a very, very, very high or frequency meaning. It's associated with calm, openness, and connection. And then it also contrasts with our lower emotion in states like fear, anger, hatred, those types of emotions. So it's the contrast of all of those. So, excuse me. When our heart is centered in our frequency, our heart center, then it's oftenly that heart field, our love, our connection, our unity. So think of those frequencies. These are all in the 600s, right? So, and then when you speak of higher vibrations and higher frequency, calm and openness and communication, these are all here. These are our throats. These are in the 700s. These are the 800s, right? So you're looking at these now frequencies in solfeggios, because it's the heart into the third eye, right? It's how we speak, how we communicate, how we connect, and then how we love makes our compassion. So it's these beautiful chakras that we are interested in fixing. Ironically, though, these can't get fixed and aligned until we fix our lowers. Our bread baskets. This is where we suppress things. This is where we bury things that we don't want to talk about. It's too emotional. It's not too emotional. You didn't die. Get that mind frame. Twist your patterns of thinking, right? Because this is where frequencies lie within that vibration. So vibrations are similar to unconditional love are similar to that unconditional love and forgiveness vibration. That's high. It's high because some teachers placing that frequency at the 528. Why? Because that's unconditional love. That frequency 528 is unconditional love. And now we have to move from there because it's not really heart. People think 528 is our heart, but it's really not. Our heart's in our 630s. So it's that climbing, it's that bridge from our breadbasket into our heart is where we're accelerating with Shakti energy, right? In Hinduism, it's that feminine Shakti energy that has to get into the heart area. And when we get into our heart space and then we can explore it, then we have the awareness of our consciousness. We have our awareness of compassion and our understanding. And we have all these other awarenesses that we can find that unconditional love and forgiveness in the petals of the heart. So within these emotional like scalings, just below understanding love, that unconditional love, but but just below that or above neutrality and acceptance, that's that division right there. So if you find people who want to argue, they're still stuck without heart. They really are. And most of the time they don't even have faith because they want to stay in this argument. They're not willing to budge. Imagine if our levels right now inside of the United States are so divisional and so segregated and so angry at fellow friends and family and Americans. You really think that they can even figure out that compassion frequency? They're not going to. This is why we're teaching this. It's for the people who can't stand it anymore. Their stress level, their high blood pressure, their, everything's climbing, their health is coming because you're you're just an emotional wreck. You're letting something that for years, for 250 years, it was never such a conflict in the United States. Bring on social media, the awareness how people want to think and not even have an education to think that way, or have an awareness of where to find what is accurate. And then when somebody points it out, they lose it because they rather just be angry with that person because they didn't get their way. It's craziness. It's craziness. It's craziness and it's sad. And I'm not quite sure there's another way of addressing it. We have to learn it. And it is about doing due diligence to your own soul so you don't have to come back and learn it again. If you're still angry and the event leaves, but every time you think about the event in your life and you get angry with it again or sad or cry or upset, anything that is not on a higher vibration, you're going to learn it again because you didn't learn something that was your part. It was your part of the event. People get divorced. They always want to blame the other person. They always say he, she, and the truth. That's the easiest example. Own it. Own whatever you did. I will never make that mistake again. This hurt. Own why you did it. Did you have compassion, understanding? If you did something against your partner and you didn't look for help first, that's on you. These are all on you. It's a journey that you're going to have to take. You have to explore it. Why did we do this? What was the leading tipping point that said, I'm done, or I had to do something? This goes back all into compassion. Again, we want to associate with 528 and higher frequencies for compassion because that is calmingness, that is openness, and that is connection. And it's amazing when you start wanting to be in that higher vibration or that higher realm of the connection to God. You become aware of these lower vibrations or these lower frequency patterns. And you really, at my point now, I want to cry for them. I tear up when I listen to people. And they're trying to be but they're still not looking it up. I could tell you the sky is gray. Show you a picture, the sky is gray. But you look up, the sky is blue. Like, MJ, I'd love to believe in you. I can only tell you what I see. How is it my sky's gray and yours is blue? Well, we all know if you had an education that the world goes around and you have clouds, you have, systems. Yeah. It's a lot to think about. It really is a lot to think about. And I want to pause, but I want it to really sink in. Because what comes up next? Because when you have the compassion, it feels expansive. It feels warm. And it feels steady. And it's never forceful. Compassion. But now here it is. Is there love and compassion? Whew. There can be forms of love without compassion, but they are very limited. They really are. Attachment without understanding, right? Control disguised as you care, the narcissist. And the conditional love. I love you if. It's on a conditional basis. I can only love you if. True, mature love includes compassion from the get-go. Maybe if we all had more compassion or a higher percentage of compassion, our divorces might have decreased in its percentages. Our love for children and humanity, with all these horrific humanity of crimes and killings, maybe it could come down. Everything is plausible. But unless somebody teaches it, it's not going to happen. You can teach the Bible. You can teach English language, history, science, math, right? Like you could teach all that. But if that child being born until it was 5 years old doesn't understand compassion, it's going to be harder as an adult to learn it, or a teenager. It is going to be harder because it has to start from the time you were born. In the short answer, real mature love includes compassion. You can have attachment, attraction, or desire without compassion, but those aren't the fullest forms of love. They're not. Those are false identities of love. Oh my God, he's so good looking. I don't know where I was. I was with somebody and they're like, wow, look at that guy. I hope he waits on our table. So you kind of look at sometimes and you go, okay, where are they in their life? Because for me, being comfortable where I am, I wouldn't look at him that way. But when they're there, so that's the compassion side. That's the awareness of where somebody else is, to be kind. You're not on their journey, right? And that's fun. And so you see, so you laugh. And so you coming back going, I can understand why, right? Yeah. Compassion is what makes love. It really is. A patient instead of controlling, right? That's love. That's compassion. Kind instead of self-centered. And then supportive instead of being conditional. So there can be forms of love without compassion, but they're not limited. Remember that. Because again, attachments are, you can have attachment without understanding. Control disguised as it. So without compassion, love lacks depth. It just does. With compassion, love becomes patient. Love becomes forgiving. And love becomes sustaining. So without compassion, love can become possessive, indifferent, and even harmful. That's the sad part. It will destroy, including death, without compassion. So aligning, understanding, and compassion. But compassion is my word of the year for everybody. Take 3 months like I did. Turn off the TV. See how long you get without following the news, or shut down your news feeds. Post an enjoyment. Post what you feel on earth. Post what you see in the sky. Post from the heart, but not of people. Post of the heart of what you see in the water. Post in the heart of what you see in the forest. Post of your heart what you see in the grass. Because there is just beautiful energy that is waiting for the world to come back into compassion. From the smallest to the largest, the division is not compassion. Your epitome to yell, to bonker, and to be the conscious right person is not that. It will never be. It can't be. Compassion is not a weakness. It's a strength. And it's a strength with awareness. It does not mean that you accept harm. It means that you respond with clarity instead of conscious reaction. It is one of the highest ways that we live in both human and in soul. the highest ways. And it does form strength and awareness. And it requires you to stay open in a world that often encourages closing it off. Often. Look at the headlines. Look at the sourcing material. These AI chat, I am going to encourage it again. We had this discussion this morning. These things, even though you ask a question, they are programmed by somebody. If that somebody is a far right or a far left or a far, independent, and they're not balanced, you're going to get an unbalanced answer. Be careful when you're using these. Seriously, look at their sources, saying, where did you get this information? And if it is any source that has gone through, and look it up, Supreme Court libraries, congressional libraries, you can look it up, did it come out of this, that we already know that this news station has been sued for defamation of character how many times, or false reporting, or politically reporting, any of them, right? Fox has been sued. CNN has been sued. MSNBC has been sued. Go to something that is not going to have a lawsuit case because somebody is taking it out of perspective. There are those. There are some that they're just twisting the narrative. I didn't really like Bill Maher, but I'm really beginning to like Bill Maher. Somebody goes, have you ever watched him? No. But what did I do? I'm going to tell you a secret before I give you the rest of my closing here. One of the things I did is I decided to play every single, when something happened here, when I got home here, I would listen to every single news station I could to try to catch up of what I missed out on and where I am. And I'm watching how one thing, and I had to go on my phone, go to the library and go, what is going on? So because it was so bipolar. It's amazing. It's amazing how a news headline can be so drastically different. And I just find it funny. That's all I can say is I find it funny. Compassion, it's not a weakness. It's just a form of strength and awareness in a different vibration. It requires us to stay open in a world that is closing off and encouraging the closing off of anybody trying to listen to a different perspective. The more that you practice compassion and the more that you can shape your compassion within you, the more it shapes how you see other people, yourself, and life as a whole. Numerous times, I have the awareness to not go, not do, because I don't want the confusion. I don't want the resentments. I don't want the opposites. And I always say, God finds a way. One of my masters always says, nope, my team is pulling me out. And I used to think, is that part of ego? Or is it truly compassion? Is it truly awareness and understanding? Or is it intuitively? Or is it a sensory? My team, and they've said so much that you kind of, now I look at as, if divine doesn't want me to do something, he's going to put a lot of hiccups in it. They're going to put a lot of hiccups in that road. And I always say 3's the charm. Back up, turn around, let's see what we have to do here. Do we have to continue? Is the mountain going to get stronger before it doesn't? What's our end goal? Where's the understanding here? Where's the strength in our awareness? It goes back into compassion. I have enough compassion not to go to places anymore because I love and I don't want any negative energy within that surrounding. So it's hard for me, especially when It's and maybe you may find this when you know that others don't think kindly of you, or they have something awful to say, or they're just mean. And you know that. And you know it to be true. In your heart and your souls and your guts. And sometimes you don't even have to hear it. The energy, and that's the other gift. God gave me the gift to see people's energy. I know as soon as I walk in what that energy is. And I love when I try to walk in, or I come into a studio, or I come into something, and all of a sudden that energy tries to shift, and then you get you get all these and see, my compassion now is just to laugh, because I'm like, don't change who you are because I walk into a room. I didn't. Of course you did. And of course now, and then it feels like the Big Bang Theory, where Penny tells Leonard, oh, you're going to believe all your best friends. You're going to believe your eyes. You're going to believe your ears. And you're going to believe your sights, but you're not going to believe me. Your fiance. Come on, you have to laugh. You have to laugh at this because it's funny. It's, you come to Sense and Sensibility, or you come into Common Sense, and you're like, true. That's very true. So, awareness. It's okay to step away. It is okay. But you need to finish what you start. Always, you need to finish what you start. And hence, number 68, here I am, with compassion, with understanding, with grace, with humility, with honor. Here I am. I'm finishing what I started. Yeah, I had to step away. But here I am. How did I get there? I'm going to give you some prayers. So, daily compassion practicing is how I've been doing this. And every morning, you can just, when you open up your eyes, don't get up. Just lay there quietly. Close your eyes again. Smile. Put your hand on your heart. And just say inwardly, may I be guided by compassion today. May I see the gentle eyes. May I act with kindness and truth. So easy, right? And feel it. Feel it coming through your soul. Feel it coming right in. And compassion is not something that you force. It's something you allow to flow through you, right? So may I be guided by compassion today. May I see the gently in the eyes, and may I act with kindness and truth. So these are all different ways that you can practice. When you feel it, right? It is something that you just allow to flow through you, but I want you to feel it. And then during the day, right? After lunch, or you're in the bathroom, or you're taking a smoke break, or whatever, right? Just sometime in the middle of the day, pause a minute, just give yourself that moment, or when you meet somebody, right? Whether it be family, whether it be a stranger, or even someone who's very difficult. Pause. Breathe. Tap. Pause for a breath. Silent your mind and offer. May you be free from suffering, and may you be at peace. May you be free from suffering, and may you be at peace. Middle of the day, or one of these attributes happen. It's really easy. It's easy. You don't have to say my words. You can say your own words, whatever you're comfortable with. But you're not fixing them. You're just honoring their humanity and their event. That's what you're doing. Okay? And then, of course, we go into our own self-compassionate moments, right? Where we need our self-compassion, when we feel overwhelmed, when we make our space instead of having our judgments, we place that awareness and that breath or that joy into say, I am held in grace. I meet myself with compassion. I hold myself there. Remember that. Remember who I am. I say it with conviction to myself, to my inner self, to my ego. I am held in grace. I am held in grace. I am in love. I am held in grace. And I will meet myself with all kind of compassion for this moment. Right? This softens the inner voice, and it then lets it become gentler. I tend to be very authoritative and militant in my words and my convictions. It is more of a conviction of truth than it's a conviction of trying to yell at somebody. I am learning that about myself, right? When we did all those personal matrices, and we did learning of who we are, and we learned of our zodiacs, and we learned of our birth charts, and we see this energy, and we learn these moments that when we do it, we're like, oh, there's one of them, cancel, clear, delete this. Let's go back and let's do it again, right? It's a practice. Everything in life. I had to quit nicotine. I was smoking 2 packs a day of cigarettes in the military, and then I came out. For 21 years, I would smoke. 2007, I did it. I was like, enough's enough. This is too expensive. I have other things to do than to be smoking. I have children. I have this. I have that. I made it to be enough. It had to be enough. Enough was enough. But until that point, then we still have, it's the alcoholics the same way, right? Finding out what we're trying to alleviate, what we're trying to de-stress or decompress in our life, that we want it buried, and we're just going to smoke it out, or we're going to drink it out, right? One of those two. Yeah. So it's the software, it's the inner voice. And then obviously I do active living and compassion. And that active living in that compassion is I listen to somebody. And of course, me who wants to just say, oh my God, just cut the bullshit and let's just go to the top. I mean, that's just me. I tend to be like this, right? Just because I want this finished, I don't want to linger. I want it finished. I want to say what I want to say. You can say what you want to say. And then we're done with this. It's over. But when you truly don't say something, but you say, I said it, and you know for a fact, you know, at one point, it was one of my family members, they were like, but you didn't say that. I go, I did. They said they didn't. They said they never heard it. Because I didn't say the words, I am sorry. I said all these other words, hipping and hopping and all the way around and blah, 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 for my martyr little self not to have the function of, but I never said it. I am sorry. Right? And then when you ask, sorry for what? Which one? Can you even tell me why you're sorry? Can you tell me why I'm hurting? Can you see why this relationship hurt me at the moment? Out of nowhere? Family, friends, coworkers. It's all the same thing. Compassion. Speaking without. So, active living in compassion. Each day, I choose a small act. I choose to listen fully to somebody. I choose to offer help without being asked. And I choose to speak gently where harshness would be easy to open up at the moment. I do it quietly. I do it without needing recognition. Compassion deepens in humbled expressions. It really does. And then right before bedtime, I reflect on my day. Where did compassion flow naturally for me? Where can I open up more tomorrow with compassion? Where's that balance? Sometimes people can journal. I'm not a big journaler. I'm getting there. I'm getting there with my writing. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there to write what's my heart saying and how I see it in consciousness. And that is where I want to stay. So for all that was, I give thanks. For all that will be, I trust divine grace. That's the release of a day that I make onto myself. So, and you can do it too. Compassion is just not something that you create from nothing. It's something that you remember. It is a recognizing that every being carries a story. Every heart speaks in peace, and every soul is connecting. In many spiritual paths or any denominational religional paths, the compassion is seen as an expression of divine or the God or the Lord within you. Remember that. When you live in compassion's presence, as it continues, your reactions become responses. Your mind becomes quieter, and your present just becomes healing to others. Compassion begins within you. It feels less like an effort, and it feels more like a natural state of being when it's accomplished. It will just flow. Some people have it, and some people had practiced it at an early age with their parents and their social circles, and some have not. And so that is where I want to be. So in closing, this will be the end. Unless anybody has any questions that you want to give, I am so here. Good morning, Jose. How are you, sweetheart? I believe that in this world that's quick to judge, criticize, and tear down, compassion is what builds, heals, and that's exactly, yes, that's exactly. Oh, I love Jose. Yes, my friend. Yes, it is. If you're still on, Jose, I'm going to read you this. Compassion is not just being kind. It is feeling, understanding, and choosing to respond with care. It is the pause before reaction. It is listening without judgment. And it is seeing the human in someone, even when their actions are hard to understand. Compassion is learned through life, through your own pain, your own healing, and your own willingness to grow beyond reaction into awareness. When we live in compassion, we soften conflict, we deepen connection, we release in heaviness, and we create peace within and around us. Compassion carries a high, heart-centered frequency, steady, warm, and expansive. It aligns us with our truth. It aligns us with our unity and love within its purest form. There can be forms of love without compassion, attachment, control, conditioned. Yes, true love, the kind that sustains and heals, always includes compassion. Compassion is strength. Compassion is awareness. And compassion is how the soul remembers who we truly are. Okay. And there we have it. Balance, compassion, and the rebirth of our newness. We rebirth it by proclaiming what we have found within ourselves. The higher of consciousness that we vibrate is the more peace, and the more we can balance and align with others, because we're not taking on their judgments. We're not taking on their anger. We are compassionately looking at them going through a life lesson. No matter if you are Native, Indian, right? Native American, African, doesn't matter your denomination, your religion. It doesn't. If you exist in a soul human form, you have it to be compassionate. And if we all work together and we all remind each other in a very beautiful, positive, conscious way, then we can all live in unity, like my friend Jose says, right? My Mr. Motivation. All right, I gotta go. I'm happy to be back, and I'm ecstatic for each and every one of you to continue. And please sign up, write to me, ask me questions, come on the show. Do you want to have a session? Maybe it's going to help somebody. You never know. Just climb aboard. So here we go. We got to go. Bye. And I'll see you next Monday. I promise I will be here. I promise. Can't make that promise, can I? Because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. By God's will, I will be here next week, Monday at 9:00 Eastern time. Mwah. See you later.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/die-tired-band.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.